And when she died, the bank simply sent Ove a new card in his name, connected to her account. And now, after he's been buying flowers for her grave for the past 6 months, there's a sum of 136 krones and 54 ore left on it. And Ove knows very well that this money will disappear into the pocket of some bank director if Ove dies without spending it first. But now, when Ove actually wants to use that damned plastic card, it doesn't work, of course. Or there are a lot of extra fees when he uses it in the shops, which only goes to prove that Ove was right all along. And he's going to say as much to his wife as soon as he sees her. She had better be quite clear about that. He had gone out this morning long before the sun had drummed up the energy to rise over the horizon, much less any of his neighbors. He had carefully studied the train timetable in the hall. Then he turned out the lights, switched off the radiators, locked his front door, and left the envelope with all the instructions on the hall mat inside the door. He assumed that someone would find it when they came to take the house. He fetched the snow shovel, cleared the snow away from the front of the house, put back the shovel in the shed, locked the shed. Had Ove been a bit more attentive, he would have noticed a fairly large cat-shaped cavity in the quite large snowdrift just outside his shed as he started heading off towards a parking area. But because he had more important things on his mind, he did not. Chastened by recent experiences, he did not take the sub, but walked instead to the station, because this time neither pregnant foreign woman, blonde Louise, Rune's wife, nor low quality rope would be given any opportunity of running Ove's morning. He'd bled these people's radiators, loaned them his things, given them lifts to the hospital. But now he was finally on his way. He checked the train timetable once more. He hated being late. It ruined the planning, made everything out of step. His wife had been utterly useless at it, keeping it plans. But it was always like that with women. They couldn't stick to a plan, even if you glued them to it. Ove had learned. When he was driving somewhere, he drew up schedules and plans and decided where they'd fit up and when they'd stop for coffee, all in the interest of making the trip as time efficient as possible. He studied maps and estimated exactly how long each leg of the journey would take and how they should avoid rush hour traffic and the shortcuts to take that people with sat-navs wouldn't be able to make head or nor tail of. Ove always had a clear travel strategy. His wife, on the other hand, always came up with insanities like going by a sense of feel and taking it easy, as if that was a way for another person to get anywhere in life. And then she always remembered that she had to make a call or had forgotten some scarf or other. Or she didn't know which coat to pack at the last moment. Or something else. She always forgot the thermos of coffee on the draining board, which was actually the only important thing. There were 4 coats in those damned bags, but no coffee. as if one could just turn up into a petrol station every hour and buy the burnt fox piece they were selling in there, and get even more delayed. And when Ove got disgruntled, she always had to challenge the importance of having a time plan when driving somewhere. "We are not in a hurry anyway," she'd say, as if that had anything to do with it. Now, standing at the station platform, he presses his hands into his pockets. He isn't wearing his suit jacket. It's much too stained and smells too strongly of car exhaust. So he feels she'd probably have a crack at him if he were to turn up in that. She doesn't like the shirt and jumper he's wearing now, but at least they're clean and in a decent condition. It's almost 15 degrees below zero. He hasn't yet changed the blue autumn jacket for the blue winter coat, and the cold is blowing straight through it. It's been a bit distracted of late, he has to admit. He hasn't given any real thought to how one is supposed to present oneself when arriving upstairs. Initially, he thought one should be all spruced up and formal. Most likely, there'll be some kind of uniform up there to avoid confusion. Supposes there will be all sorts of people, foreigners, for instance, each one wearing stranger kit than the next. Presumably, it will be possible to organize your clothes once you get there. Surely, there will even be some sort of wardrobe department. The platform is almost empty. On the other side of the track are some sleepy looking youths with oversized backpacks, which, over the size, are most likely filled with drugs. Alongside them is a man in his 40s in a gray suit and a black overcoat. He's reading the newspaper. A little further off are some small talking women in their best years with county council logos on their chests and purple tresses of hair. They are chain smoking long menthol cigarettes. On either side of the track is empty, but for three over-dimensioned municipal employees in their mid-30s in workmen's trousers and hard hats, standing in a ring and staring down into a hole. Around them is a carelessly erected loop of cordon tape. One of them has a mug of coffee from 7-Eleven. Another is eating a banana. The third is trying to poke his mobile without removing his gloves. It's not going so well, and the hole stays where it is. And still, we're surprised when the whole world comes crashing down in a financial crisis over things. When people do little more than standing around eating bananas and looking into holes in the ground all day. He checks his watch. 1 minute left. He stands at the edge of the platform, balancing the sole of his shoes over the edge. It's a fall of no more than 1.5 meters, he estimates. 160 possibly. There's a certain symbolism in a train taking his life, and he doesn't like this much. He doesn't think the train driver should have to see the awfulness of it. For this reason, he has decided to jump when the train is very close, so it's the side of the first carriage that throws him onto the rail rather than the big windscreen at the front. He looks in the direction the train is coming from and slowly starts counting. It's important that the timing is absolutely right, he determines. The sun is just up. It shines obstinately into his eyes like a child who has just been given a torch. And that's when he hears the first scream. Ove looks up just in time to see the suit wearing man in his black overcoat starting to sway back and forth like a panda that's been given a Valium overdose. It continues for a second or so. Then the suit wearing man looks up blindly and his whole body is struck with some form of nervous twitching. His arms shake convulsively, and then, as if the moment is a long sequence of still photographs, the newspaper falls out of his hands and he passes out, falling off the edge onto the track with a thump, as if he were a crate of cement mixture.